Hurts looking, going deep, down the far sideline. It is to the end zone and caught by Devontae Smith for the touchdown.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eagles fans, we're back. 2022 season is just around the corner. We made it. Eagles report to training camp tomorrow on July 26th, taking the first practice on what will be Wednesday on 27th. So no better time than to get into the roster, the training camp battles, and what we're looking forward to, how the roster is looking right now, and taking it by position by position. And I think today we're going to start with the offense. So let's just go through it. Let's go through, we've got quarterback, receiver, tight end, running back, and the offensive line. To kind of summarize a little bit here, what we're looking at going into training camp, what will be the big training camp battles, and how the roster is looking at this point. So going straight ahead to quarterback. Now, obviously, at quarterback 1, we have Jalen Hurts. Big year for Hurts, going into his third year now. First year starting last year was, we know, everybody who's been following the channel here last year, we did game by game. We're going to do the exact same thing here in the 2022 season. Now, what we're looking to see here, a lot of debate on Hurts, naturally, because he is the quarterback 1. What we're looking for in this season is more efficiency and pocket awareness, timing awareness in the offense. So basically, what I mean by that is that when you're going by your progressions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of mixed in with awareness of where you are in the pocket and feeling of pressure. We want to see from Hurts not escaping the pocket and not breaking down the play as soon as you're feeling the pressure. We saw from Hurts that he can escape pressure, move out the pocket, and make big plays down the field. However, as you're also very much aware of, we also saw a lot of plays last season where there were plays to be made down the field. Now, Buccaneers game was absolutely that instance where we had Quez Watkins running wide open simply because of pressure and escaping out of the game plan early. So, for me, and as we've seen, the arm strength is not an issue for Hurts. Now, there were a couple of times where we saw awkward releases or a couple of deep passes where you could see he kind of got the ball off weird, but that wasn't as much because of lack of arm strength. That was more because he didn't set his feet in the pocket, and that goes exactly back to the point of being aware of what is going around you in the pocket while also being efficient in the offense and knowing exactly what you have in front of you. That is something I think we will probably be surprised of, at least I hope we'll be surprised, is that he'd take a big step in being in Sirianni's offense for a second year and having all these plays already in muscle memory and then adding on top of that so that you can go back to these plays they had last year and the concepts they had last year, already having gone through some of those plays, and you have an idea, you've memorized how that looked, and you can build off of that. Now, on the second quarterback, we got our guy, Gardner Minshew, not yet moved. He's still with the team, going into his 4th year. Still not sure why the Jaguars let him up. Very serviceable backup, probably one of the top 10, I'm just spitballing here, backups in the NFL. Very much serviceable. We also saw that last season as he came in against the Jets. So for Gardner Minshew, really it all comes down to Jalen Hurts. Probably we're not going to see too much of Gardner Minshew, but very serviceable guy, and also guys going to make preseason more fun to watch. Now, quarterback 3, we got Carson Strong out of Nevada. Now, that was a priority free agent signing. Not sure how he did not get drafted, or I know why he did not get drafted, because he had terrible knees, and those are a major red flag. Now, Carson Strong has the arm, no doubt about it, but that availability or potential availability issue for him is absolutely what kept teams away from actually drafting him, and Eagles were very lucky to be able to sign him. Now, we don't get to see much of Carson Strong during the regular season, at least we hope, but he's going to make, again, preseason a lot more interesting. Moving right on to the wide receivers. The big position of change in this offseason. Now, everybody who follows this channel knows the potential of Devontae Smith and how open he was and how he won with every single route and could work everything, really, from the screen game. We saw so much of that in the Buccaneers game. Screen game, he can make people miss even for his size. Intermediate game, he dominates that. Curl route, in-route breaks, utilizing the leverage of the defender before cutting in, out, really sets up defenders extremely well. Now, we've also talked about how you really want to pair that with a guy who can come in and complement Devontae Smith big time, and we got that in A.J. Brown. Now, they wanted to get Allen Robinson. They even had an offer out for Christian Kirk until that market exploded. But being able to get in a guy like A.J. Brown, superstar, 25 years old, just turned 25, locking him up in the very manageable contract and really fair contract, considering what he's done throughout his career so far. Really, by no means is it a stretch to say that he's been top 5, top 10, both in on-field performance, in both in productivity, talent. He wins in so many ways. I mean, a lot of people know him from this contested catch animal who just outbodies defenders. And when he catches the ball, his ability with the ball in his hands is absurd. It is. I mean, he's a big guy. He's built thick, can run through people. But really, he's sneaky good. He's a sneaky good route runner. And like Devontae Smith, he understands how to attack leverages off of defenders, and even being the size he is, he's got speed. And we didn't need to see that too much from the on-field stuff last year. We saw plenty of that with the Titans, but we just saw him race Elijah Moore, going step for step with him. 4-3 Elijah Moore, even though Elijah put on some weight, but leave that aside. AJ is a burner. Now, move that along. We got the position, the wide receiver 3 position. And that is where we're getting into some of the real training camp battle here. Quez Watkins, everybody who follows the channel here knows I love Quez Watkins, and I love the potential that he brings, because his step from year 1 to year 2 was significant. You could really tell that he has been working on attacking leverages off defenders, something he wasn't really used to while playing college. What he would primarily win at there was with his speed. Then he got the NFL. Everybody's fast. So he worked a lot heading into last season in terms of how to attack DB positioning, and then winning pretty much before you cut. We saw more and more of that, while also him being able to work the slot a lot more towards the end of the season. We saw some big plays downfield waiting to happen. And really, Quez Watkins, you can argue he made some of the biggest plays in terms of catching momentum, if you believe in that kind of stuff last season. The big gain against the 49ers, the long catch where he displayed some speed, contested catch against the Cowboys, took a screen in for a touchdown as well. He's made plenty big plays last season. But then he's going up against Zach Pascal. And it's not that I think that Zach actually brings more in terms of tape. We just know that Nick Sirianni loves Zach and has been working with him in Indianapolis. And everybody knew that Eagles were going to bring him in. It was a low risk, probably high reward, because if he can be at the floor a wide receiver 4, then that is tremendous. A little bit of a body catcher. Haven't seen too much of him working, catching the ball with his hands. But still, this is going to be a camp battle that I think Quez Watkins is going to win, or that I expect Quez Watkins to win. But then again, really excited to see what Zach Pascal does now that he's back with Nick Sirianni. Move a little bit further down the depth chart. We have Jalen Reagor. Not even sure if he makes the team. He was actively part of the Eagles losing last season, fumbling 2 punt returns against the Buccaneers, one resulting in them going up 24-0, dropping multiple potential game-winning touchdowns last season. Wasn't a sharp route runner, got jammed off the line consistently, didn't get any separation. Worked a little bit more on his curl routes. That he got better at working back towards the ball. That is probably the best thing I have to say about him. So looking at the other contestants, Devon Allen and Britton Covey come to mind immediately. Both really athletic guys. Now, Covey, as we all know, is super fast guy, twitchy, electric. He is a guy that I really look forward to in the punt return, kick return competition for special teams. Devon Allen, we all know, superstar, world-class athlete. Dominating the hurdles currently, not currently because of stupid disqualifications. But those two guys are very much in play for making the roster, potentially even over Jalen Reagor if they can contribute in the return game in a way that Jalen hasn't been doing. So look forward to that in the preseason games for sure. And not to forget John Hightower, still on the team, got a chance. Really like that. He displayed some legit downfield threat when he was playing with Carson Wentz. but we also have a very inconsistent ability to track the football down the field and some bad drops, and that has to be cleaned up. Now, if he cleans it up even a little bit, he's still got more to offer, in my opinion, than e.g. Jalen Reagor does. Greg Ward, we know what he is. He's very serviceable. He's he's a veteran. He can make plays. He's not gonna get massive separation. I'm wondering if we've seen what Ward can become. And if that is a wide receiver 5 in this offense, a wide receiver 6 even, that is absolutely a good thing. That is a perfect role for him. But he's still he's in a camp battle with the rest of these guys. Moving along, we are working towards the tight ends, and really not much behind Dallas Goedert here. Now, Dallas Goedert still, in my opinion, is a top 5 at least tight end in this league, simply because of his productivity when he is actually running routes. He took over for Zach Ertz last season when Zach left for Arizona, and Dallas did not disappoint in any way or fashion. A little bit of job issues last season. That has to be cleaned up, but if that gets cleaned up, he's lethal. Down the middle, down the seams. He makes ridiculous catches. He is a top-end blocker in the league. But after him, it becomes kind of a little bit more murky here. Of course, you draft Grant Calcaterra, who's been out of football for a while. He comes back here. He's absolutely more in the receiving area of tight ends. Not really a guy you expect to come in and work in those 13 personnel as a massive blocker. So that is something he's going to have to work on and improve on in training camp and show the coaches. But I think he's going to be a contributing factor early in his career. But he will be going up against, and here comes the competition for that position, Tyree Jackson and Jack Stoll. Now, Jack, a little bit more of the traditional Brent Selleck-ish type of tight end, really more of a blocker, but absolutely safe-handed. He'll catch the ball over the middle on those far-yard stick routes and working out on the out routes. But still, I mean, Tyree Jackson he's a bigger frame. He's a better athlete. He's coming off injuries. Had back injury, tore his ACL as well. So he's working back from adversity from last season. So for him, really, it's going to be much about how has he recovered. And if he shows out in training camp as much as he did last season, there is a clear path for him to become the tight end 2 behind Dallas Goedert. Now, that is granted that he really shows out and dominates as much as he did last year. And then the X factor at the tight end position, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who reportedly bulked up and has switched positions. We'll see how that is. I mean, he played wing a lot last season. Actually, also a little bit 2 seasons ago. So it's not a totally new position for him. I'd like to see how he does in the blocking game. I mean, he was solid as a blocker as a right receiver, but now he's also being asked to go up against defensive ends and a bit more linebackers head up than what he's been used to doing. So maybe that isn't the best matchup, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's got hands, working in the short area. Obviously, not a very good tracker of the football down the field. So his wide receiver days are over. This is the last straw for him. This is his last chance of making a career with the Eagles. Absolutely see a situation where he does not make the roster. 2 other names we know: Richard Rodgers. We also know Noah Togiai, who also spent some time with the Eagles last season. Both of them, we'll see. Don't really expect too much of them. Richard Rodgers, of course, always the safety blanket, but really you hope none of those guys make the roster and that they're just for depth purposes and that somebody else steps up. Moving on, we got the running backs. Of course, it all starts with Miles Sanders. Now, Miles Sanders is starting to become a bit of a tricky case because we have those insane yards per carry numbers for him. And, of course, those are all fine and impressive. But really, what I'm missing from Miles Sanders is progression and consistency and availability. From year 1 to year 3, there's been periodic issues. We've got some fumbling issues in year 2. We've got injury issues in all 3 years. We have drop issues, especially in year 2 and year 3. And we've got some limited ability to run in short yardage situations and in the red zone, especially in year 3. So what are we really expecting from Miles Sanders this season? I mean, you sprinkle all of this in with injury concerns, and really what we're looking for is for him to take that next step and in a contract year show that he can be that guy moving forward. I don't personally believe that he's going to show enough, though, that the Eagles extend him simply because they have such a dominant offensive line. We'll get to that in a little bit. And literally, I think anybody behind the offensive line is serviceable. I think Miles Sanders is too special, to be honest with you. I don't think he's going to make a bunch of guys miss. Make a lot of things happen on his own. We've already seen that he can have issues in the passing game, so I don't think he's going to be viable moving forward, but really excited to see how he's going to look this season and hoping he takes a big step forward. So next up from him, we have Boston Scott. Boston, on the other hand, has been taking a lot of strides forward, in my opinion. For his size, he is a very good, he's a physical and a surprisingly good short yardage runner. Now, obviously, his size puts him at a disadvantage in terms of getting stopped early from the line, but that's simply just not the case. He usually plows through and finds small holes in the offensive line to drive forward. Now, also being a legitimate threat in the passing game. Same goes for Kenny Gainwell, the rookie out of Memphis. Last season, in his rookie debut, he had some of the most touchdowns on the team. And PFF do like a threat factor, which basically is what is the percentage of first downs and touchdown runs on the total amount of carries they had. He was around 30 to 40%, something bonkers number. I think it was 34% of all of his carries either went for a first down or a touchdown. He's super efficient. He worked very well in the passing game. Now, he wasn't asked too much in terms of the blocking, but we'll see more of that to see if he can really be a 3-down running back. Also, would like to see him get some more work as a runner in between the tackles to see, will he progress in that area as well. I think the trio of Scott, Sanders, and Gainwell, they're gonna go running back by committee. I'm sure of it. I think it's going to be. I hope there's going to be more of a run heavy approach early. We saw them basically just shy away totally from the run game last season. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and there'll be plenty of snaps for the running backs, and you actually get some of those guys in a groove. But I don't think there's a massive gap between Sanders, Scott, and Gainwell. So sneaky training camp battle will be there for who gets the most snaps at running back. Probably is going to be Sanders, but let's see. Lastly, on the roster for the running backs, we have Jason Huntley. Didn't really see too much of him last season, except for a couple of kicks and punt returns. Now, needless to say, that was tons better than Jalen Reagor, and that is what he's going to make his spot on the roster. And we'll see. Maybe he works more as a runner, but my expectation for him is primarily making the roster on special teams. Moving on to the last position, offensive line. My favorite on the team. It is the best offensive line in football. It does not get better than the Eagles' offensive line. Simply. The best, top 3 at least in tackle, offensive tackle rankings. And we got Lane Johnson, best right tackle in the game. I don't care anything about Tristan Wirfs. Does not matter. Lane Johnson, battling through depression and anxiety last season, came back and absolutely dominated the position, was the most efficient pass blocker, was still a beast in the running game. Doesn't compare. Jordan Mailata took major steps forward. The most crazy thing about him is that he's not done developing. I mean, he's still got technical things that needs to be refined. We've covered him game by game last season. We're going to do that as well this season. He will continue to grow, and that is scary. And for this season, we're going to be looking for, will he get into the Pro Bowl? Will he become an all-pro caliber left tackle? That's where we're at now, 5 years into his career. And his contract already is looking like a bargain for the Eagles. And then on the sides in both of them, we got left guard solidified in Landon Dickerson. Once again, a guy that will absolutely continue to develop. Was not mistake-free at all last season. He continued to develop last season. He is a mauler in the running game. That is where he's that is his bread and butter. When everything fails, Lanton just going to rely on his running game because he's going to maul people around. Those combinations they did, those QB powers where they pull Jordan Mailata and Lanton Dickerson to the other side was one of the most dominating run designs in the NFL last season, simply because of those two dudes always pancaking two guys on the backside of the play. Now, he will have to take strides in passing game, especially coordinating with the tackle and the center in terms of passing along D-line stunts. That is going to be his thing, or the thing we're going to have to watch for him next season. But that left side is going to be so fun to watch because they're already so good. But they're going to keep developing. That is a thing of beauty. Center, Jason Kelce, the GOAT of centers. We'll see. We'll see. It's getting up there. Hall of Fame lock for sure. All Pro last season. What do we expect from him? I mean, he did not show any signs of slowing down last season, so I think he's just going to continue to steamroll through the picture. I mean, it's still one of the most athletic centers, which is bonkers at his age. Still moving people. Still a leader on the offensive line. But moving to the right guard position, that is going to be the spot to watch for the offensive line in training camp. Now, we got a battle between Jack Driscoll, Isaac Seumalo coming back. Like, Jack Driscoll has really impressed me in many facets of the game. He's been thrown into right guard, left guard, right tackle, even took snaps at center in some preseason games. He's been all over the place. And he's done really well no matter where he's played. Now, right tackle was his position at Auburn. So probably the idea is that at some point he's going to take over for Lane Johnson. Let's just say that never happens. And he continues to take strides and will become a right guard probably for the Eagles. But there's also Isaac Seumalo coming back from injury. Now, Isaac is a talented player. He's a starting caliber offensive lineman in the NFL. And before he got hurt, he was playing at a high level. So really excited to see him back, and he's going to make a run for the right guard position as well. And of course, the last guy, Cameron Jurgens, drafted to be Jason Kelce's replacement, second-round pick. They're not just going to let him sit behind Jason Kelce and see what happens. He is going to get right in there in the mold and compete for that right guard position to see if their second-round pick is already better than the other candidates to that spot. Going to be bulking up a little bit, I'm sure. So we'll see if he catches up immediately and becomes a factor or a contestant for that position. Moving on to the depth, and we already hit on it with Isaac and with Jurgens backing up on the center position immediately. Driscoll, versatile piece as well. Still got Andre Dillard on the roster. Hasn't been traded yet. Still, he's a solid backup at left tackle for Jordan Mailata. Was needed a couple games last season. Did really well. Sua Opeta, a guy that Jason Kelce spoke highly of last season as a guy who's really taken strides in training, and we'll see if that is just blowing smoke or if that is actually if it is true. Some other guys, we got Brett Toth, Coyote Awosika. I probably butchered that last name. LaRaven Clark, and a bunch of other guys that I don't know if we're gonna get too much to see from those guys. But also, like, these are talented guys, and they got the best offensive line coach in NFL history. I said it. So there we go. We've got a quarterback who is young, works hard, is absolutely going to take strides. We'll just see how much that is. A guy they can absolutely win with. Did that last season. Build a strong roster around him. Superstar wide receiver, acquired an A.J. Brown. Got some more talent in that position. We actually have competition for a wide receiver position now. Tight end, there's going to be some competition there for the backup tight end spot, but some good options and a star, in my opinion, at the tight end position with Dallas Goedert. The best offensive line in football, and running back room that is serviceable, with Ken Gainwell and Boston Scott being the primary threats in the passing game, and Miles Sanders, we'll see what he is. I'm looking forward to it. Not banking. I would not put my money on him becoming some extraordinary superstar that we're going to pay a lot of money. But I could be surprised. That was the offensive edition. I can't wait to get into Eagles football. There's gonna be so much things to talk about. There's gonna be so much tape to break down. It starts with the preseason. I'm excited about it. Make sure to hop onto my Twitter page, ThomasRP93, where I'm going to be posting all throughout training camp updates, what goes on, transactions, who does well, who does not play well. You get everything you need there. We'll go through the games, and we'll go through the defense. Soon preview that for the season. Some hot topics there to talk about as well. And nothing to say that go Birds.